Um, Imagine opening a brand new, state-of-the-art restaurant on the very same day that the legendary 20-year-old diner next door accidentally sets its kitchen on fire.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that is essentially what just happened in the software world.
Yeah.
And the timing it is almost unbelievable. Welcome, listeners, to episode 602 of AI Brief. I am Amin, and alongside my co-host, we are taking a deep dive into a stack of updates that prove the artificial intelligence landscape is shifting entirely under our feet.
Definitely.
So today, we are exploring a bold move by Cursor, taking on GitHub on its absolute worst day. We are also going to examine a historic copyright deal forged between ByteDance and Hollywood. And finally, we will break down a massive 8-gigawatt physical power push from OpenAI and Nvidia that honestly sounds like something out of a science fiction novel.
Today's developments paint a really fascinating and undeniable picture. We are watching this technology rapidly break out of the software layer. I mean, it is no longer just about generating text or writing code. This is now physically reshaping legacy industries and demanding a fundamental rewrite of our hard infrastructure.
Let's start with what is happening over on the software battlefield, because Cursor is making a massive play here. SpaceX AI's coding platform, Cursor, just launched an early beta called Origin.
Okay.
And this new platform is designed to host code repositories and manage pull requests with artificial intelligence agents built directly into the system, which is an aggressive move onto GitHub's home turf.
But the diner fire analogy I mentioned earlier...
I love that analogy, by the way.
Thank you. Well, that is because on the exact same morning Cursor launched Origin, GitHub suffered a massive outage. I mean, their platform experienced severe performance issues that crippled functionality for a large chunk of the day, extending over 6 grueling hours.
6 hours in the developer world is a lifetime. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Cursor managed to hit that exact window of vulnerability. They even rolled out a live sync feature, which is basically like having a ghostwriter mirroring your every single keystroke in 2 different notebooks at once.
Oh, interesting.
It allows developers to connect their code bases directly from GitHub, creating a live mirrored version that pushes code to both platforms simultaneously. So it gives developers a seamless way to test drive the new alternative without having to, fully migrate and burn their old bridges.
To truly appreciate the strategic weight of that launch, you really have to look at the historical context.
Please do.
For those outside the deep technical weeds, a pull request is essentially a developer raising their hand and saying, I have made changes to this project. Please review these changes and merge them into the main code. And for 2 decades, GitHub has owned that interaction.
Spot on.
It has been an entrenched standard. So while Cursor's broader ambitions to expand were, an open secret in the industry, launching your alternative in the middle of a massive competitor outage is an opportunity you simply cannot script.
You really cannot.
The act of actually writing code has been completely upended by artificial intelligence over the last few years, but the hosting of that code has remained firmly locked onto Microsoft's legacy rails. So now GitHub is facing the exact same siege that the rest of Microsoft's product lineup has already endured.
Which is fascinating.
It really is. Origin changes the fundamental equation by pairing each hosted repository directly with Cursor's agent and review tools. Instead of constantly switching contexts, developers can keep their code browsing, follow-up edits, and human approvals consolidated within one single product interface.
Okay, so it streamlines the whole workflow.
Precisely. This beta is initially opening just for Cursor's paid customers, but they have clearly signaled that features specifically built for large agent-native workloads are coming soon.
Let me pause you there, because that term, agent-native workloads, feels like the real key to this entire thing. We are not just talking about an autocomplete tool anymore.
Oh, definitely not.
We are moving toward a future where these systems are independently generating, testing, and reviewing massive batches of code autonomously. And GitHub simply was not built to handle that kind of non-human traffic. Cursor is betting heavily that developers recognize that bottleneck.
That makes total sense.
But let's shift gears, because whether you are trying to train a massive coding agent or generate broadcast-quality video, the legal and physical constraints are colliding everywhere. Over in Hollywood, ByteDance has just agreed to a formal framework with the Motion Picture Association, the MPA.
This is a huge deal.
It really is. This agreement is designed to implement film and television copyright protections directly into their Seedance and Seedream models. And this comes just months after ByteDance was hit with a formal cease and desist notice.
The timeline of events leading up to this framework is incredibly revealing about how fast the technology is actually moving.
How so?
Well, the initial legal feud was sparked by a viral clip generated by ByteDance 2.0 that depicted a highly realistic Tom Cruise fighting.
Oh, I remember that clip. It was it was almost indistinguishable from a real movie.
Well, it crossed a major line. That specific instance marked the NPA's very first cease and desist action against a major artificial intelligence company, largely because the fidelity was just so high. So following that notice, ByteDance actually pushed back the worldwide release of ByteDance 2.0.
I see.
They utilized that delay to engineer and bake much heavier protections into their subsequent releases, specifically last month as 2.5 update and the new Seadream 5.0 Pro models.
Wow.
And the implications of this framework are incredibly broad purely because of how ByteDance distributes its technology. By baking these safeguards at the model level, these copyright protections will necessarily impact every single application that runs on them.
Oh, wait, so that includes things like...
That includes third-party servers and editing tools like CapCut and Dreamina, as well as TikTok and its United States spin-off.
I need to push back on the logistics of policing this, though. Because if ByteDance bakes in these protections, does that actually solve the NPA's broader problem?
That is the big question.
I mean, we know many of the laboratories pushing the hardest in the video generation space are operating out of China. If competitors like Playing and Alibaba's Wan models are also pushing out hyper-realistic video, this feels like playing the world's most expensive game of whack-a-mole.
That is precisely the challenge the NPA faces. This is a highly decentralized and difficult problem to tackle entirely. It only took a few short years for artificial intelligence video to jump from simple meme-grade clips.
Like the distorted Will Smith eating spaghetti?
Yes, the spaghetti video. To jump from that to the high-quality cinematic footage we see today, ByteDance is an incredibly major domino to fall in terms of establishing copyright frameworks, but your point is absolutely valid. Open-weight models and rival platforms present a landscape that is nearly impossible to fully control with a single agreement.
And generating that level of high-quality, broadcast-ready video requires an immense amount of physical computation, which leads us directly to the literal concrete and steel required to power it. OpenAI and Nvidia have just announced a new campus set to deliver nearly 8 gigawatts of compute power.
That number is just staggering.
It is. And to pull this off, they are building this massive project at a decommissioned Cold War-era uranium plant in Pike County, Ohio. NVIDIA is supplying every single chip for this facility, and they're backing the build-out with up to $105 billion of their own credit.
Unpacking the physical and financial mechanics of this infrastructure deal reveals an unprecedented level of commitment. To conceptualize the scale of this, an 8-gigawatt capacity is monumental.
Yeah, I mean, how big is that really?
8 gigawatts is enough power to run several major metropolitan cities simultaneously. You cannot simply buy a plot of commercial land and plug a facility of that size into the local grid.
Obviously not.
The reason they selected a former uranium plant is that those specific federal facilities were originally constructed with massive, heavy-duty electrical transmission infrastructure already connected to them.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
The land was remediated and cleaned up after the original plant shut down, making it one of the few places capable of handling this kind of grid demand. The target date of 2028 actually only covers the opening 800-megawatt build phase.
So it scales up over time.
Correct. The remainder of the 8 gigawatts will scale up after that, and the financial structure is equally massive. OpenAI is leasing the campus from an entity called SB Energy, and Nvidia is heavily involved far beyond just supplying the silicon. They are actively investing $1.5 billion into SB Energy.
Wow.
Which creates a highly complex network of capital, especially considering SB Energy also holds previous investments from both OpenAI and SoftBank.
Wait, let me make sure I'm following the money correctly here. NVIDIA is supplying the chips, but they are also investing $1.5 billion into the energy company that is leasing the campus to OpenAI.
Yes.
That sounds incredibly tangled. How is Jensen Huang defending this? Because critics usually call that circular financing, essentially accusing NVIDIA of giving these companies money just so those companies turn around and buy more NVIDIA chips.
That specific criticism is why NVIDIA Chief Executive Officer Jensen Huang addressed the market directly. He published an article alongside the news specifically to push back against the allegations of circular financing.
I see.
His response was definitive, stating clearly that OpenAI will be the entity paying the lease. He argued that frontier laboratories are currently constrained by physical infrastructure and financing, not by a lack of demand for compute.
Okay.
Regardless of how one interprets the intricate web of a deal involving OpenAI, Nvidia, and an early Sam Altman investment company majority owned by SoftBank, this stands as one of the most significant physical build-outs to date.
Absolutely.
It is also highly notable that this massive project is occurring completely outside the Stargate initiative, the separate mega supercomputer project which has quietly experienced a rocky 2026.
It is wild to think about the sheer volume of physical dirt, steel, and power grid capacity required to make all of this run. So while they are literally pouring concrete in Ohio, the rapid-fire software and business developments happening across the rest of the industry have not slowed down for a single second. I will let you run through the rest of the board.
The ground is shifting incredibly fast. If we analyze the remaining crucial developments from today, the sheer volume of capital and the speed of product iteration are remarkable. First, Stripe is reportedly acquiring the model marketplace OpenRouter for over $7 billion.
That is massive.
It is. OpenRouter essentially provides developers with a single connection point to access various different models. And that $7 billion figure represents a massive multiple. Specifically, it is more than a 5 times jump in their valuation from a funding round they raised just a few months ago.
5 times in just a few months.
Yes. Moving to the video generation sector, the platform Higgsfield secured a new $400 million Series B funding round. A Series B typically happens when a company has proven its model and needs capital to capture massive market share.
Okay.
And this injection more than quadruples their valuation to $5.4 billion. That valuation is firmly anchored by their annualized revenue run rate, hitting a staggering $700 million.
Wow. $700 million in ARR.
Meaning, based on current performance, they are on track to pull in that much revenue this year alone.
That is incredible.
We are also tracking a significant boom in voice technology. The startup Cartesia has released Sonic 3.6 in beta. This is a new text-to-speech model that covers 44 different languages and is currently topping the voice leaderboards published by Artificial Analysis.
Okay, so voice is heating up too.
Definitely. Running parallel to that development, the voice dictation startup Wispr raised $280 million at a $2 billion valuation. They announced this alongside a preview of Canto, their first in-house speech model specifically engineered to function accurately in noisy, real-world conditions.
Oh, so like busy streets or factory floors?
Yes. Rather than just pristine recording environments. Finally, looking at how we actually interact with these systems on our personal devices, Nous Research rolled out a feature called bot mode in their Hermes Desktop application.
Tell me about that.
This platform is compatible across macOS, Windows, and Linux. Bot mode provides each of your Hermes Desktop agents with its own unique skill set, underlying model, and memory. This makes it significantly easier to command various agents across your computer, but more importantly, these agents can now talk directly with each other.
Wait, they talk to each other?
They do, allowing them to share context quickly and seamlessly across different message threads locally on your machine.
The velocity of the capital moving through the industry at this moment is just astonishing. Seeing Stripe make a $7 billion move and watching Higgsfield achieve $700 million in annualized revenue demonstrates that the market is way past the initial hype phase. We are scaling practical applications that generate real returns.
Absolutely.
It is also fascinating to observe how quickly voice technology and local desktop agents are transitioning from experimental novelties into highly practical, interconnected systems that actively collaborate behind the scenes on our machines.
It changes the entire workflow.
Speaking of workflows, let's bring all of this high-level news down to practical, usable tools that you can deploy today. If you are listening to this, you are probably wondering how to actually use these breakthroughs to speed up your own work. Let's look at 7 trending tools, not as a random list, but as an interconnected system.
I like that approach.
Start with Workable. You can use this platform to centralize and efficiently manage your entire recruiting pipeline, human resources operations, and talent natively on one unified system. That specialized talent could then deploy Manage Deep Agents, a platform used to build and launch deep business agents that take advantage of real-time monitoring, tracing, alerting, and high-level insights for complex corporate tasks.
Sure.
Meanwhile, your developers can use Origin, the new cursor beta we discussed earlier, to live sync your GitHub code bases and utilize those built-in agents for continuous follow-up edits.
Makes sense.
For customer outreach or global applications, you could deploy Sonic 3.6. That is Cartesia's tool that seamlessly integrates state-of-the-art text-speech capabilities across 44 different languages.
Which is huge for localization.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can pair that directly with Picture Maker, a specialized tool used to instantly generate scroll-stopping marketing imagery directly from a simple conceptual idea.
Okay.
And for all the heavy lifting in the background, you have Grokbot, developed by xAI, which allows you to deploy always-on agents as persistent teammates that utilize their own cloud computers to handle background work independently. Finally, you can deploy Manus, which operates as an autonomous agent to independently complete highly complex research or intricate data entry tasks across the web without requiring constant human supervision.
Looking at that specific ecosystem of tools, the real power emerges when you synthesize their capabilities. By combining something like Manus, which handles autonomous web execution and research, with Sonic 3.6 for high-quality and multilingual audio generation, the output potential multiplies exponentially. A single user operating from a laptop today can effectively operate with the reach, precision, and capability of an entire traditional media agency.
With artificial intelligence platforms now natively hosting our core code bases, negotiating historic copyright frameworks directly with Hollywood studios, and operating their own immense cloud computers out of former uranium plants, the fundamental paradigm has shifted. We are no longer simply licensing software. We are actively onboarding digital infrastructure.
Please follow the podcast to stay updated on these critical developments. Share this discussion with colleagues who need to stay informed on the rapidly shifting landscape and continue to question how these structural changes will impact the future of your own industry.
See you in the next